You've selected a show from the Podcast Jukebox, a DIY podcast network.
It's Will Shawn Podcast. The internet cried out for 2 more blowhards, and they courageously answered that call. Armed with the weapon of wit, each week they're joined by guests to discuss movies, television, pop culture, and anything else that's pissing them off. Take it away, boys.
I'm Will Link.
And I'm Sean David.
And this is Will Shawn Podcast.
With the taste of affliction still fresh in our mouths. How you doing, Will?
So, I went to that Indian wedding.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
How
I was very
it?
concerned because I don't like Indian food.
This was your concern.
This was my concern.
How was it?
The wedding was lovely.
A real Satyajit Ray affair.
Everything was, it was a beautiful day. We're out on the sun was shining.
Yeah.
The couple only one of the members of this couple is Indian.
The gods were smiling upon the occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then, but you know what?
Indian food.
I didn't eat all that much.
Yeah.
It's probably the least I've ever eaten during the beverage hour.
Is that what they call it?
Well, there was no cocktails because they were Indian, but they're also Muslim. So it was a dry Indian wedding. So there may have been some pre-gaming though to this wedding.
Okay.
But during the beverage hour, I didn't eat any of the food.
Okay.
It did not.
There wasn't like a vegetable or a skewer, not like a piece of meat.
What I
nothing?
ended up doing
Yeah.
was I'm sitting down at this table, and the bride's
Uncle's
cousin sits down.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to her, and she goes, "Oh, I hope you like Indian food." And the way my face dropped, she realized I did not. And I ate some chicken that was okay, that I would never order, but
Okay, but it was there.
But it was there, and it was good. It was, and it's funny. The bride's cousin kept pointing out, like, oh, and that's Adiba was the bride's name. That's Adiba's uncle, and that's Adiba's other cousin. That's it. And then, like, this guy on the groom's side of the family comes by, and she goes, "Oh, and you must know, as you're his friend, you must know him." And I go, "Nope." And then I realized I knew very little about my friend whose wedding I was at.
All right.
So,
But it was a lovely affair.
but it was a lovely affair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then afterwards?
I had eaten a really large lunch in anticipation of this.
Okay.
I ate Chinese food.
Well, it's close to India.
Close to India,
Yeah.
but not...
You did enough reference to the occasion.
Yes.
So no in and out afterwards.
No in and out afterwards.
Okay.
Instead, I came home and watched The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it was a night.
Perfect end to a perfect day.
Was it?
What's going on in the world of Will Shawn Podcast?
Jukebox Podcast Network. Subscribe. Check out the other shows. Do that.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
There's
do
some
that.
good shows.
There's some good.
And let me tell you what Off the Cuffs is doing. They got swag now. They got pins.
What is this?
They've got
Can
pins
we
and
consult with
t-shirts.
them on how we can? We need to get a little taste off of this.
Okay, here's the thing.
We need some swag.
They're at the point we were years ago, and we're at the point where we've run out of steam. So I feel like we missed the swag train.
You know what? I'm putting it out here right now. We may need to redesign our logo. I don't know.
Maybe we should do a big redesign for episode 300.
Yes, and then get a little swag out. Get some T-shirts.
Yeah.
Get some bumper stickers.
Yeah.
This sounds terrible. It's going to cost us money is what it's going to be. But check out them. We're going to consult with them on how we, merchandising. Make sure you are liking us on Facebook, subscribing us to us on iTunes, leaving us a comment and a star rating, and doing the Twitter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's our sponsor this week?
Ready Player 2. It's the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of Spielberg's smash film, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson.
I knew. I'd been waiting for his new film.
Yeah, well, he's been busy. You know, him and Mila Jovovich were just looking for the right project.
On the show today, we just told you to like us on Facebook, but should you be deleting Facebook? Should we be deleting Facebook? We will discuss. And we just told you to get ready for Ready Player 2, but we got to talk about Ready Player 1, a movie none of us have seen yet, But I feel like we have because the nostalgia machine has really been working overtime on this one. And speaking of nostalgia, everyone's nostalgic for, growing up playing baseball, Little League, Catch What You Dad. But Major League Baseball wants to make a move next season that I got some problems with. We will discuss. But first, we are very excited to have with us a returning champion.
Is he? It's been so long.
We're going to get into that. He's a filmmaker, writer, all-around great guy, Nicholas Brandt.
How's it going, podcast audience?
Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed. It has been... Okay, so...
I wasn't gray. I wasn't gray the last time.
You
I
were
was here.
not gray last time you were here.
So, here's the thing. This is episode 286. And we've talked like, we should have Nick back on. And then finally when we're like, let's have Nick back on. And we're like, it feels like only yesterday he was on the show. No, you were on episode 21.
Obama's first term, I'm pretty sure.
I was blackjack, and now you're 286ing me.
I think you were... Yes. You were certainly on...
Before we really had like a good structure for the show.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I apologize.
You were thinking about this like, this should not have happened.
Oh, I would have came back the next week. I was waiting by my phone this whole time, guys.
I'm
it didn't
sorry.
ring.
You're somebody we legitimately like. And then we're like, and then it just never happened.
Well, I'm so busy.
Well, we had porn stars and magicians to interview, so,
Wait, at the same time? Porn star magicians?
You don't want to see where that rabbit comes out of.
Oh.
So,
They make something disappear.
I mean...
A presidency? No.
We could hope.
We can hope.
So, if people want to get your full backstory, I guess they could go back.
I'm going to charge you for those archives.
Episode 21.
Monetize this shit.
God knows what the topics we were discussing were.
Oh, I can look it up.
We should just
while we're
make that
talking.
up.
But
keep talking.
As long as you can do it fast. But a little bit about your background. You're originally from Buffalo?
I am from the Buffalo area. You can see on my arm, I have a buffalo tattooed on it, which always is like, I'm from Buffalo. And then I extend my arm to let people know that
And
it's
they're like,
legit.
you're from Buffalo.
Yeah, like legit. Although I'm actually from Tonawanda, a suburb between Niagara Falls and Buffalo, but it's easier to say Buffalo. It's also sadder to say Buffalo because of the state of our sports teams. But yeah, I'm from there.
There you go. And when did you move out to LA?
Yeah, oh wow, we're just gonna date me, huh? I moved out to LA directly following college. I spent the summer after the University of Rochester working there, and then I moved out to LA, me and a couple friends, and I've been out here half my life.
Now, the last time you were on, you were talking about the film you made, Bad Behavior.
Yes.
Which was a while ago now.
That was a while ago.
But since then, that movie was on motherfucking TV.
Yeah, no, it was weird because we made it independently, ultra low budget, all that fun stuff. And then we got a sales agent involved, and Lifetime picked it up. And it was a Lifetime movie network premiere, and they aired it 50 to 100 times.
Which is
That's amazing.
It's so funny to me because I mean, when I was watching it, it's like a thriller and stuff, and I wasn't,
Woman in Peril.
That's true.
Bread and butter.
Okay, so I'm going to cut in. Here's the topics. So first of all, was the movie called Right Next Door originally?
It was originally called Right Next Door.
Okay.
A funny story, the people that were selling it and packaging it said, oh no, we only sell things that are A title, B title, C title, because they'll be in the front of the catalog. So we had to change our title because of that.
That's amazing.
Okay. Movies. The Master trailer. This is so obviously a story about Scientology. Philip Seymour Hoffman is clearly L. Ron Hubbard. Comparison to early looks at There Will Be Blood.
Okay, hold on a second. Philip Seymour Hoffman was still alive.
Yeah. Next topic. Magic Mike. Do we want to see this film?
Did we say
God.
yes? I hope we said yes.
I think we all have seen it. So
Okay. Comics before Watchmen. No involvement from Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore. Is this sacrilege? Was the film Alan Moore as pissy, miserable human being? That's our ally. Next.
That has not changed.
Next TV show, Newsroom premiered. And then Will is rewatching The Sopranos. Why? What things you always go back to?
oh my god,
And
this
then the
was
next-
all in one episode?
Then the next topic, Enemy. Assholes who are videotaping shit instead of helping their fellow man. Can't call the cops because they're already using their goddamn cell phones. People who do nothing. The I-5 beating of Jerry Patterson. He cut these three guys off. They stopped him. Fight broke out. 2-on-1. People watched instead of calling the police or trying to stop him. Other examples, the Giants fan at Dodger Stadium. If someone has gotten involved, could have stalled long enough for cops. That was the episode. That was our outline.
A packed episode.
It was a packed episode. We
was-
all saw Magic Mike.
We did.
Yeah, amazing movie. One of the seminal movies of the post financial crisis, I might say.
Okay, Stephen Metcalf.
No, it's Magic Mike. Key film.
Okay, some of those topics kind of blow my mind.
And ironically, they're now making a Watchmen TV series
Yes.
for HBO, so it's still topical.
We're going to have you come back, talk about Watchmen TV series.
And Magic Mike
Pinky swear?
XXL.
Okay, I want the audience at home to know
That's
that we
it.
just pinky swore.
We're doing
all
this.
three of us.
And when The Master 2 comes out,
That's really that's crazy. We've had...
we're like, Paul Thomas Anderson's got a new movie. Could it be good? Who knows? Blah, blah, blah. I don't see any oil.
Or milkshakes.
But that's kind of amazing that you had to change the title of the movie to fit the... Was it hard to come up with this new...
We kind of were using something from inside the story. I wanted it to actually be Best Behavior, but apparently that was a couple letters too
What
deep.
about Bosom Buddies?
Oh, what about it? You could not do that show today.
No.
You could not make Bosom Buddies today.
No, there'd be no Tom Hanks
Yeah.
if it were today.
And no...
Peter Scolari.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hannah Horvath's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's pretty crazy. So did you find that I guess that now we live in an age that's so... Like, they're looking for media. Everybody's looking for media.
Hot IP.
Because when you made that, there were a lot less outlets.
There were.
It's kind of incredible. And I guess, how long after you had made it did it air on television?
I want to say it was about a year, give or take.
Okay.
So yeah.
So in even that year's time, did you see like the tides changing and stuff like that?
Not quite. We missed that one. We poorly timed making a movie.
Excellent.
Right
That's
right
what
after
you wanted to.
Yeah, right after you can't make money back on DVD, and right before you can make money back on like all these other outlets. So we were just perfect eye of the storm.
Ladies
of
and
good.
gentlemen, we are here today gathered to miss the tide, get on the boats and wait.
And that's why my next movie will be perfectly timed.
Can I tell you about a web series about struggling comedic actors in Los Angeles?
Sure.
Get on it.
Yeah.
That's your next.
Let's do it.
It's so funny because I always say that about my film school experience. And I came into film school right after like the early 90s boom of like independent filmmakers. And then I left film school before there was even YouTube or things like that. And I'm like, I don't understand either of these. I'm at the very wrong.
You're neither an auteur nor are you
You're
chasing
shooting
those
on
hits.
like digital video
Yeah.
and like it's
Yeah.
We were the last class at the University of Rochester to actually
Ever.
cut film.
Oh.
We cut film.
Okay, Michael Kahn.
My last year of film school,
Good
we
guy.
got Avids.
Oh, so
My
yeah.
very last year. So my thesis was cut on an Avid, but nothing else was. And I didn't know. I never learned how to use the Avid.
We had Media 100s.
There you go.
We were really
This is
ahead
a
of
good
the time.
chat right here.
Really deep technical stuff.
So,
Let's talk about other things.
Yeah, so
I'm not
bad
coming back,
behavior.
apparently.
But did you find like a lot of was there like renewed interest then when it was airing on TV? Were you finding people discovering the movie?
Well, I think, yeah, because nobody else had seen it. Up until it aired, nobody had seen it. And then I was in Buffalo, so I was live tweeting during it with a hashtag and everything. And most of the tweets were like, didn't you guys have a budget to make this? Why does this only have like so many actors and so many sets? I'm like, no, that's independent filmmaking.
Yeah.
You limit the actors, you limit the sets, you try to limit the cost.
And OJ was innocent.
Oof.
But you know what's funny? That complaint might not come if it was like in a theater or something, because people would understand independent cinema.
Look at these auteurs.
But when
they
the
wear.
second they see it on the Lifetime,
Well, they assumed we had those big Lifetime movie budgets.
They were waiting. They were waiting for like a Christmas princess. That's why they were confused. If you had said it like Shane Black style during Christmas, then you'd
then it'd be on ABC Family or whatever that is
for
now.
the rest of time.
okay, so you've been doing other things since then.
I continue to write, I continue to make, and I continue to wait for my audience to catch up to me.
There's there are probably so many things that you've done in this time period, but one thing I wanted to bring up first.
Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master came out in theaters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Comic-Con the musical.
Yes. Guilty.
This is such a brilliant idea that I'm shocked no one had thought of it.
Well, it was funny because I co-created it with Laura Watkins, who is the composer and the lyricist. I did book, which I have to explain to a lot of people means the spoken parts of musicals.
Yeah, the script,
not like I wrote a book and then it became a musical, though I could do that. So we co-created it. The very first thing that we got coming out of the gate was we were accepted as one of 4 shows in the ASCAP DreamWorks Stephen Schwartz workshop. So we performed 30 minutes of our musical that we had just made, never performed before anybody else, at the Wallace Annenberg in Beverly Hills.
Nice.
In front of Stephen Schwartz and Irene, who wrote Lion King. I'm forgetting her last name.
Her name is
I want to say Adler, but that's
I've met her. But
yeah, that's the Sherlock Holmes person.
Yeah.
And and Carrie Kirkpatrick, who did Something Rotten. So our very first performance was the first 30 minutes, and we got notes from those 3 people.
That's unbelievable.
It was great. But you think like it's like, oh, coming out of the gate, it's going to be an easy walk in the park from this point on.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not that easy.
Mecky.
Yes. Thank you. I was like Adler. I just have Sherlock Holmes stuck in my head. So it was great, and that feedback has informed it. We did at last year's Hollywood Fringe Festival. We did 4 sold out shows. We had 3. We added another one on.
Let me wheel it back.
Yeah.
Had you gone to a lot of Comic-Cons, or you're a Comic-Con person? Just kind of tell us what this thing is, because Will and I have never been to a Comic-Con, and just the thought of it gives us anxiety sweats.
Well, yeah, I can understand that, and that's kind of part of the story. But yeah, I've been going to Comic-Con since I moved out here, so that's...
Before it was commercial.
Yeah, no, actually, I mean, you can actually see... I think the turning of the tides was sometime around Twilight, because then there were these commercial movies there, and that whole fan group was going, so it wasn't just...
It's a different kind of...
It used to be about the comics, man.
Yeah. And now it's about pop culture in general, which is great. It's amazing. The San Diego one takes over the town, the entire town. You don't even need a badge. You can just visit San Diego during that time and experience a con on the streets. WonderCon just happened this past weekend in Los Angeles. A much more scaled down version. I like it better because I can actually breathe in the aisles.
Yeah.
Because I'm slightly claustrophobic.
You're not wearing a full xenomorph alien costume
this time.
Yeah.
I'm more low rent on my costumes.
So you've been going to Comic-Con for years.
And even before I moved out here, like I used to go to the small ones in Buffalo, like when my dad would take me.
So small.
So tiny.
in a community college gymnasium.
Pretty much. I mean, pretty much. But even like the con culture has gotten bigger. I did a stat where like there's like 1 billion con goers a year. Like it is huge. There's cons in every town. There's Chicago, New York is big now. Con! Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I nerd out. I've always loved comic books. I basically learned how to reading comic books, and then just adding in TV and movies. I happen to also like those things, so it makes sense to me.
So. When did the well, first of all, had you written like stuff for the stage before?
I hadn't, but Laura had a couple songs that she put together, and she wanted to make a musical called Nerds, and apparently there is a musical called Nerds, and so she actually started coming to me as like a technical advisor. She's like, you know, what's somebody who flies that rhymes with or, and like, you know, who's a villain that rhymes with anus? It probably not, but you know, something like that. And then all of a sudden she's like,
Thor and Mantis.
Yeah, there you go. Points. So she was like, would you want to write this with me? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I've always been a musical theater lover, and it was always on my bucket list, but I basically play like an inch worth of guitar. Like that's a very small amount of guitar. There was no way. Yeah, 2 chords. I know 3. Thank you.
All right, Green Day.
3 chords in a dream. And so like it was never in the cards for me. I couldn't do this on my own, so I had to like team up Wonder Twin Powers Activate with somebody who could actually, you know, compose music. So it was never in the cards for me until she was like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yes." Check it off the bucket list.
Nice. So what's the main describe the musical itself to us? It's because I mean, obviously, it takes place at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it takes place at Comic-Con. It's basically the basic story is 3 people have their lives changed at Comic-Con, and they may, in fact, have saved the world from an alien at it. There's an actual alien in our musical.
That makes sense.
Because, well, we wanted to
Zack
have...
Snyder deserves better.
I will insert that into the musical. But, we wanted it to be a little bombastic. We wanted to have some, like, superlatives. We wanted some bang, zip, pow.
But you also draw on a lot of the inside culture and jokes of the Comic-Con world, or the con
absolutely.
world. Yeah, things that, like, if Will and I had gone and we don't know the, like, lore, the secrets of going to these conventions, we would miss. But there's definitely stuff in there for people that go regularly that know, oh, they're making fun of this, that, or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I think we designed it so that it would make sense for a general audience.
Okay.
We're actually, based on notes from producers, kind of going back to one to streamline it even more. But yeah, there's like the last in line sign is a thing. But you could piece that together in your mind. One of my dreams is if we got it really nerdy and maybe a little obtuse for audiences to have one screening or performance a week that's like the pop-up video version, wherein somebody's like, that's a Star Wars reference. That's a Flash Gordon reference. That's an X-Men reference. So that if you are missing something, you could be like,
that's a Kevin Smith thing.
Yeah.
When J.J. Abrams stole his audience. Yeah.
Has Comic-Con the musical played Comic-Con?
We played Stan Lee's LA Comic-Con.
Okay.
We did selections from it. I think that was last October. It was really cool. A review. Yeah. A little performance. It was cool because part of the musical, there's a masquerade. There's a masquerade at Comic-Cons. So we would actually invite people from the audience onto the stage
That were in
costume, and we actually give out prizes.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
It's fun.
If we went to Comic-Con, you'd wear like a Captain America t-shirt, and I would like
I?
dress. If I went to Comic-Con, I'd wear a 3-piece suit and a pocket watch and be like, figure out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'd wear.
That'd be my cosplay.
Oh yeah,
like,
I don't know if I'd wear Captain America, but yeah, I'd be like in some nerdy T-shirt.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm the asshole that pays for all this shit.
Yeah,
That's who I am.
I mean, I go to cons and I wear a nerdy t-shirt, so it's not...
So you don't go like full...
No, I mean, I have friends that are... Oddly enough, my friends Will and Sean, not these two Will and Sean.
What? Bizarro. No, hold on. You're burying the leader. Can we have them on the podcast? We need Bizarro, Will, and Sean.
It would be great, but they go all out. They will be like Groot and like have a self-designed Groot suit, like Venom.
Like I appreciate seeing all that. I would never do that.
Can I wear a Dodgers hat? Like, is that my cosplay?
I mean, you could carry around an iron and just be like, I'm Iron Man.
No, that's you know what that is? That's a Ted Mosby Halloween costume. That's what that is.
I actually did that for Halloween, like before the movie came out, so like it was even a deeper cut then.
You know what you should do? Wear thick glasses, white hair, hold a piece of iron, and be like, I'm Iron Stan.
So, what's the future of Comic-Con the musical?
Right now, we're going into version 4.0, and we're just revising it and refining it off of notes, and we'll keep moving on, you know?
I'm not, I don't know much about the musical theater world, but I'd imagine that it does take a long time. Like, you gotta refine, and you gotta play small show, and you gotta get things... Like, it takes a while to...
Oh, yeah. Well, when Lin-Manuel Miranda was on Saturday Night Live, he's like, it took 7 years to make Hamilton, so I'll see you guys in 7 years. And we're at about the 2.5, 3 year mark with Comic-Con.
You gotta get a residency at the Public Theater.
Hey,
there you go.
So calling it now, next Hamilton.
Next Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He was a poor boy.
Yeah, slightly less rapping, I guess. But we are, open to,
It's Hamilton if it was all into, like, My Chemical Romance and 90s emo music. Good Charlotte.
I would totally watch that.
So, what else are you working on?
I have a graphic novel that I'm going to release to Comixology Submit, which is their digital platform. Okay. So that should be coming out this year. It's been done for a while.
Did you write it?
I wrote it, okay. And my friend Scott Arnold did the art.
Okay.
We met because I was editing a comic book for Image called Little Depressed Boy.
Okay.
I remember this.
And he was doing backup strips that I was writing called The Little LDB, so it was like him as an even smaller child. And
Little Groot.
Yeah, exactly. Mini. So I was just like, hey, man, I have this idea. Would you be interested? And he was like, yeah, shoot it to me. And we have like a 100-page graphic novel ready to go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's called Joshua Jace Minimum Wage Henchman.
Nice.
He's basically the office assistant for like Cobra or Spectre.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's just fun nonsense, but fun.
I love the stories of and I always think about that, like the stories about,
Like the baker in Gotham City that's just trying to like sell muffins in the morning.
Yeah. I've always wanted to make a movie within like an action movie, like say, okay, Speed. That
would you say they would be the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of Ready Player One? The people that have to clean up the Iron Giant's iron shits.
it's kind of like that. It's like
Does Iron Giant iron shit?
Just watch Ready Player 2.
so.
I'm hooked.
Like you watch a movie like Speed, and that bus is like going down the street, and it is fucking up cars, and like it's fucking up cars in neighborhoods, and
The insurance adjuster.
My whole thing, I always wanted to make the movie about the guy who didn't know any of this was going on, comes down that morning, it's like, what the fuck happened to my car? And that sends him off on an adventure, a series of events.
So, dude, what happened to my car?
Speed meets falling down.
Speed meets falling down.
Well, isn't there an ABC show or a Marvel show coming out or supposed to come out about?
It came out.
It came out. I don't think it's
left.
I
Did
think
it
it has
die?
left the building.
These were the people that
it was
cleaned
about
up
DC. Yeah.
Which is like a fun idea.
Oh, it's absolutely. I mean, the Marvel had Damage
Listen,
Control,
okay.
which actually makes kind of an appearance in the latest Spider-Man. They kind of talk about it a little bit.
Okay, listen. At a certain point, you're running out of juice on this lemon. Okay, just because it's a comic book property doesn't mean everyone's gonna flock to it.
We need a new Howard the Duck. Do not tell me differently.
I knew Howard the Duck actually would clean up. I think,
Oh yeah, done right.
especially when you find that Howard the Duck comes from Wakanda.
Oh, I
was a
did not see that
Wakandan
coming.
duck.
Yeah, he was a Wakandan Duck.
Yeah. Okay, so you have this graphic novel, so you got a lot of...
Yeah, no, I'm still trying to raise money to make more movies, so it's always pushing forward.
Well, let us know if, when this graphic novel is available for people to peep, and we'll put it out there.
And
Absolutely.
you know what? This is so stupid that it's been this long since we've had you on.
I've gone gray, waiting for that call, guys.
Really?
Anytime... you know what?
Not anytime. Hold on. Let's put a little space.
I'm just gonna show up on. I know when you record.
And you also know where my place is. We switch off.
So...
Be wandering the streets of
Look.
North Beverly Hills.
If you are a good listener to the podcast, you've already found out everything about Comic-Con, the musical, and everything about Nick, because we have links to it on our Facebook page. Tell the people, though, where they can find everything if they don't go to our Facebook
Okay, if you
page.
don't go, if
they
you're
delete-
really lazy, or if we've gotten to the point where we all deleted Facebook, you can hear the music from Comic-Con the Musical at comicconmusical.com.
Okay.
And I'm going to plug, because we just got done with this theater accelerator, and the next class, if you're listening to this quickly, and you can turn around your musical, the deadline is April 2nd.
What's this for people to submit?
Yeah.
It's called Apple and Orange's Theater Accelerator, and they actually they mentor you for 2 weeks, and then you end with a sing tank.
Oh, this is what you went. You guys
we
went
just
through.
we
Okay.
just went through it a couple of months ago, and they're doing their new class. But even
Okay.
if you missed this class, it's a really interesting program. At the end, you live pitch to the internet, which was on Facebook Live, but it was also on BroadwayWorld.com, and there were sharks who were listening, and we got 50 cents out of the imaginary dollar.
50 Cent was one of the judges?
No.
Okay.
We got out of the imaginary dollar. We got 50 cents from Randy Zuckerberg, which ties into
Is
the
that
whole
Mark's
Facebook
brother?
sister.
All right, fine.
So yeah, Randy with an
Randy
I.
can be a girl's
Quite
name.
sexist of you.
and
It's short for Randella.
Brisa, who was one of the investors in Hamilton. So technically, we did get fake money from a real investor in Hamilton. So yes, we are the next
Is
Hamilton.
this when you see a TV movie trailer from the studio that brought you?
Yeah.
It's from a producer of,
From somebody who had heard of,
Yeah.
somebody who actually got tickets to.
From someone who saw Hamilton.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's an elite number at this point.
I saw Hamilton.
Well, aren't you?
Real fast.
Yeah, I never
real
saw it.
quick story. I went with my mother, who knew nothing about the show, knew nothing about the story, the plot, the music, none of it.
Nothing about Alexander Hamilton.
Nothing. I had to give her a quick 30-second recap on who he was.
Not even the Got Milk commercial?
Nothing. So everyone at the theater is losing their shit because they're going to see Hamilton. And when the intermission starts and it's act break, my mom looks at me and says, everyone here acts like this is the greatest thing they've ever seen in their entire lives, but it's not, and they know it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great A+ shade.
Well, my co-director, Lisa Hamill from Bad Behavior, her mom came to Comic-Con the Musical while we were at Fringe Festival, and she said, better than Wicked.
Ah, there
Whoa.
you go.
She said, I don't even like musicals, and I like this.
And on that note,
You know, I saw Wicked with
you saw it at Sardo's over the course of years as musical theater people performed every
Only
song.
Defying Gravity, and that's it.
Popular. They would do.
Oh, popular too, yeah.
I saw it with Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth.
Were your? How did you get tickets with them? You're friends with them?
What?
You saw it with them.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I can top that. We had the stand-in for the Tin Man, and it was Adam Lambert before he was on American Idol. And we were like, that guy looks and sounds familiar. And we're like, oh my god, we saw him as the Tin Man in Wicked. That's amazing.
So, you mentioned Randy before.
Okay.
And my first girlfriend's name was Randy.
Okay.
And I would be able to know more about what she was up to if I were on Facebook. But I am not
You are
on Facebook.
tying it all together.
I am famously not on Facebook.
Synergy.
But this podcast is, so I do have some sort of a Facebook presence in some way.
Don't tell the people.
No, wait. So now let's deep dive on that. Why aren't you on Facebook?
I will explain. I can tell you the exact moment I first learned about Facebook. It was December of 2005, and I was new to town, and I was online to see a show at the UCB Theater on Franklin, and I was standing on this line with this girl, Anna Kossoff, who is a brand new friend of mine, and she was talking
Really? I didn't know this.
And she was talking to her friend, Elisa
Jacobs?
about something about like, oh yeah, I'm on Facebook. And I was standing there and I was like, what are you talking about? And they explained it to me. I'm like, that's just MySpace. I'm on MySpace. And they're like, well, with Facebook, you have to have like a college email address or something like that. I'm like, well, guess what? I don't have that because I didn't get a college email address from the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. I didn't even have email when I went to college. I didn't even have an email address in college.
What?
Really?
Yeah, I didn't.
You're a monster.
And
I didn't know this
so I was
story.
very dismissive of Facebook. Then we saw the show, and I didn't think about it for a while. And then all of a sudden, more and more people were talking about Facebook, and I'm like, this is a fad. I just like Friendster and MySpace. Two things I was on. I said, I'm just going to skip Facebook. I'll get on the next thing.
So you're on Vero.
I don't even know what that is. But
So you're not on the next
But
thing.
I do have a big Twitter presence,
There you
which
go.
isn't exactly the same thing. But so then I kind of just became weirdly stubborn about it, and then it got to the point where I don't want another social media thing to manage. Yeah.
Yeah, what money is he going to make from that?
So
I'm still shocked that this was a Elisa Anna thing.
So
yeah,
they're
they were the
to
ones who
blame.
told
Was this
me.
before we met?
This was, I would say, probably about 1 month before I met you.
Weird.
Because I became friends with Anna, and then she invited me to a pub trivia where you were.
Yeah.
Did you win?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your name?
Something stupid.
We changed it every week. But the thing is, I don't know if this podcast would exist if we hadn't won trivia that night, because we won trivia, and the win was a bar tab.
It's like
to
$90
use next week.
yeah.
So we're like, well, we have to go back and reclaim our title. And then me and my roommate at the time, Jared Garcia,
And myself and Uri Okrent, yeah.
and we would all just keep
And
coming
Carrick
back.
and
Carrick Bartle
And Elisa Jacobs.
and Elisa Jacobs and Anna Kossoff, and we just kept going, and then we became all friends in real life. Now,
In real life.
unlike the friends you have
IRL.
on Facebook. So, bringing it back to the topic at hand, I never joined Facebook, and now I'm feeling pretty good about
How
it.
does the view from that high horse?
You didn't get influenced to vote for Donald Trump.
Unlike the rest of you Trump voting morons.
You know what? I'm on
Listen,
Facebook
Buffalo,
and I
you be
did not.
careful.
I'm on Facebook and I did not vote for Donald Trump. I actually got a Hillary Clinton pin. I am with her.
So,
Unlike the Will Shawn podcast that doesn't have pins.
He's got a thing on his
I got a
fridge.
magnet on my fridge.
I have an I voted
That-
sticker.
That depresses me every time I see that magnet. I'm like, she could have been our president. But, Sean, explain what's going on and why this is a
Okay,
topic.
so the most recent nonsense involves the one spell that Dumbledore told Harry never to use, Cambridge Analytica. This is a company. Okay, this is like a really complicated story that I'm going to try to reduce as much as possible. Facebook does not allow user information to be commercialized, but it can be used for research purposes. So researchers said, we're going to mine all this data. We're going to send out a survey app that people can fill out, and we're going to just take this data and use it for research purposes. But this survey app, if you filled it out, it also essentially allowed the app to skim all the data from anyone you were friends with. So that, if you start thinking about like trees and exponentiality, is an enormous amount of human beings. Then this research team turned around and sold it to a private company that then used it to what they claimed to use in the field of psychographics to create targeted advertisements towards different population groups. And it wasn't just like Hillary or Trump. It would get what they claim to do is they would get sort of a temperature profile of your psychological makeup. And if you were an angrier person, who was very off the cuff or tended to respond to a lot of very heated types of ads, they would give you the angry version of the ad. If you were someone who was cooler, they would give you the calmer version of the ad, but they claim they can target things. Okay, so basically all this is it has put Facebook in the crosshairs. And the problem is that Facebook essentially didn't do anything wrong. This is how the system is supposed to work.
They also take no responsibility.
Well, they never take any responsibility, which is an ongoing problem. And Mark Zuckerberg was interviewed on with Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes. And he's not the best spokesperson for his company. He doesn't tend to do well when interviewed or in public situations. The long and short of this is Facebook has essentially put itself in a position where should the Democrats ever retake Congress, they're going to get slapped with all sorts of regulation over their business practices, the same way utilities and telephone companies and internet companies already are highly regulated.
Do you think that's a good thing?
It depends on how smartly designed the regulations are. Like anything, there's good regulation, there's bad regulation, there's smart regulation, there's stupid regulation. But this whole thing has just walked right into the minefield nexus of Trump, Russians, election meddling, technology, social media, hacking. It's kind of the ground zero for everything that people have been worried about, concerned about, and screaming about for the last 18 months.
And didn't they like punish the whistleblower as opposed to coming clean and admitting fault?
The whistleblower from Cambridge Analytica?
Yeah.
I know he has spoken. I know he's been like dragged in front of various. Is it? Because it's in England. He's been part of like investigations there. I don't know. Do they drag people in front of Parliament? I don't know how that system works.
Do they have powdered wigs? I don't know. The last thing I saw about like English court
you were
was
there for a week. You don't know how it works there.
Yeah, I mean, I did not take the Parliament tour. I just stood outside of it. So,
so the protest is people now are screaming that like delete your Facebook account, delete your Facebook account.
Isn't it too late for that? Don't they already have our information?
They've already skimmed all your data, and also, there's 2 billion people on Facebook.
Well, let me ask you this though: does Facebook? Because I always hear that like younger people aren't as drawn to Facebook as like older people. So I mean, will this hurt the future of Facebook? Would some young kid will just kind of poison the well of their like, well, I don't want to be on Facebook anyway.
Here's the irony: all the young kids. Here's all the kids. All the young kids are like, fuck this. I get everything I need on Instagram, which is owned by Facebook.
Well, I mean, I saw earlier today a post to Facebook that Gary Sanchez, Will Ferrell and Adam McKay, they're deleting theirs in like 48 hours.
But how much? Like, Gary Sanchez Productions was not being targeted. It's all the problem with Facebook is it became the domain of like your aunts and your younger grandparents. And they went on there to like originally share baby pictures and videos, and then all of a sudden they're finding out about the scary brown people that are like, sneaking into the border in southern Minnesota. That's not happening.
I mean, they should delete their Fox News, if anything.
That's a whole separate issue. But
would you ever consider deleting Facebook?
I would consider it.
Are you considering it?
I am considering it. I don't want to be party to something negative, but I also like it's a great tool to stay in touch with the people that aren't like directly adjacent to me. Like I can stay in touch with my East Coast family, my East Coast friends. I can see what's going on in their lives
without actually having to email them or actually do anything substantive.
I mean, so basically, it's a lazy person's way to stay in touch with people.
But there's more than that. It's so someone like myself who's been on Facebook for over 10 years, I have such an accretion of just photos and interactions and conversations and posts and things I'm proud of and things I'm not proud of. But it builds up. And additionally, there are so many applications that are tied to Facebook. So you were talking about this, how, for example, Tinder until recently required you to have a Facebook account.
Yeah.
So many applications, not exclusively, but Facebook just becomes this easy shorthand for, it's like this base note under which all your other online activity hums. The problem is that because of that, they're sucking in all the data of what you're doing, where you're going, what you're looking at, what you're seeing. Even if you have Facebook open in a tab, or if you're not logged out of Facebook, it still will track where you're going on the internet, and it just
Those ads are targeted ads.
Yeah, it's crazy what it does. But I've sort of settled on this unfair conclusion, which is, if you want to go on the internet and you want to have access to all this stuff, okay, driving is a vital part of like living in the world today. Yes, you can make it through the world without driving, but you give up certain freedoms and you put yourself at the mercy of other forces. But if you decide that you want to drive, you accept the risk that you're going into a car, there are other drivers, accidents can happen, shit can go wrong real fast. Similarly with like Facebook. You don't have to be on Facebook. It does open up all sorts of avenues of freedom and accessibility. But being on there, you acknowledge that shit may go south real fast. But that being said, just because you're on Facebook and just because they like throw up certain ads at you doesn't mean you're going to be influenced by them.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of cultural and media literacy that is required that I think is sort of the missing piece of this puzzle, where especially people, and I noticed this with my parents and a generation older than us, they have really, really shitty media literacy because they grew up in a world where it was like Walter Cronkite and Dan Rathers and anyone on TV, whatever they said, that was truth with a capital T. And they can no longer discern that they're being fed propaganda and bullshit because it's on TV, it must be true. How could you say otherwise? So there's media literacy that's missing, and I think that some of what happened on Facebook is part of that. Full stop.
Yeah, I also think like I would, if I could delete something, it wouldn't be my Facebook app. It
Yeah.
would be to delete the term fake news.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
what this culture needs to get rid of. And I think that if you are a news program, and I'm hoping they hear those air quotes. If you are a news program and you are not giving facts, you should have a chyron at the bottom of your screen that says this is an opinion. Newspapers they have an editorial section
Yeah.
that specifically says this is an opinion, but TV doesn't tend to do that, and that's a huge problem. And I think there's a problem with media that extends far beyond Facebook.
So,
But her emails.
Oh God!
So I
I
get-
feel my anus clench when I hear that.
so long story short, Will Strong podcast Facebook page staying up.
Yeah. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put fake posts so the Russians get the wrong. We're gonna bring down the Soviet Empire from the inside.
Hey, let's do it.
All right.
I'm
working
changing
on
all
it.
of my information. I am now a 13-year-old girl in Wichita, Kansas.
You're gonna get all sorts of different kind of. Hey, have you ever thought of modeling?
Well, you want to know what?
I got a camera.
Oh, that's great.
Well, let's say you wanted to be a 13-year-old girl in Wichita, Kansas. What is great about, say, virtual reality, a place like the Oasis?
Wow,
you could be
your segues have gotten so much better in the 260 odd shows.
You could be whatever you want to be. And the new movie, Ready Player One, is about that very thing. I'm assuming we are all seeing that movie this weekend.
I will not. I'll probably see it early next week.
I will see it this weekend. Yes.
I will also see
Okay,
it.
good to know.
Like, I see everything. I gotta admit, I'm a little worried about this one.
Of course you are.
And usually I'm not worried. Usually I'm the guy who's going, I bet you it'll be good, and then it turns out to be Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. You know?
Or the terminal.
Well, not necessarily Spielberg. I don't think I went
Wow.
into the terminal with an
Okay,
opinion.
you know what? Let's just pause right. Spielberg has delivered so much good cinema to us.
Right.
And the BFG.
I liked the BFG,
I feel like the BFG's just not made for us.
except it was made for me.
Except for it was made for Nick.
I'm a child on the inside.
So here's the thing: a lot of the ads for this movie.
Like the print ad specifically.
Well, the print ads especially.
Okay.
There were these like tribute posters.
I
they
love
called
them. Did you not
See,
like
I did
them?
not like them.
Okay.
I felt they felt kind of like cheap.
So
Riding the wave of something else.
Explain what the tribute posters
The
were.
tribute posters were, remember the iconic poster for Blade Runner? Well, here it is, just with all the characters from Ready Player One in it.
Here's a bunch of faces you don't recognize.
Or the Goonies.
Or the Lost Boys.
Or the Lost
Back to the
Boys.
Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of did make me like, is that what this movie...
But the movie is about nostalgia.
Yeah, that's his first problem.
Well, see, here's the thing. I'm going in, like I go into every movie, wanting to like it, and I think at the end of the day, I'm probably going to walk out, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But...
See, my concern is completely different. My concern is when I saw that first trailer, I was like, this looks like the second Tron.
Yes, and that worried me too. It looked... I wasn't down with necessarily the CG look to it. And the subsequent trailers where I started to see more of the plot, it made me feel a little
when
bit
you
better.
feel the characters, when you feel the
Interesting
humanity
also,
underneath it.
In the most recent and final trailer they put out, half the trailer was peppered with early reviews of the movie, touting how wonderful and magical and Spielbergian it was, because they're trying to get ahead of the fact that people are looking at it going, is this just Tron 3? Yeah.
Did you read the book?
I didn't, and I'll tell you why. And it ties into Spielberg. Because I read Jurassic Park, and it completely ruined that movie for me.
Because Ian Malkin dies in the book?
Ian Malkin, and the lawyer, Gennaro, whatever, in the movie dies on the toilet, and it's like a laugh for the whole crowd. And in the book, he has a redemptive arc. And I'm like, oh, crap. That guy
Literally.
just died. Crap, literally. That guy just died on a toilet. Like, I felt sorry for this character that I had in my head based on what was on the screen. So I knew this book was going to be made into a movie. You just knew it. The moment that the buzz started happening and your friends were like, oh, you have to read this book. It's so good. So the moment that happened, I'm like, I am not reading that book until after I see the movie because you can do
And
so
even
much
then,
more.
you probably don't have
Well,
to read the
I'm
book.
reading a couple of things, though, that are saying this is one of these occasions where the movie might be better than the book.
All right.
It's a Shawshank Redemption situation.
That's a good story.
That is one of the
fine.
best movies of all time.
And that, yeah,
But
definitely.
the book is fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if we're judging up at that, yes, the movie's one of the best movies of all time, and the book is not one of the best books of all time, but
Yes.
it's a fine book.
Yeah.
The point is, it's weird, because I feel like, for lack of a better word, nerd culture, like, it's been this embrace of nostalgia, but now we're at this also point where we're biting back at nostalgia, and I just worry that Ready Player One is going to be forced nostalgia at the wrong time.
Interesting.
Like this movie should come out 18 months ago.
Not politically, but just I feel like, although maybe stuff seems to be good, like if you go onto like film Twitter and stuff, people who like, I'm really excited for this new version of something. Now all those people are like, no, we shouldn't have. Like, that the tide is somehow turning. But then again, those are just, if film Twitter, spoke for box office, Scott Pilgrim would have been the biggest hit of all time.
I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
But look at the
it didn't do
nostalgia.
well.
We're riding a nostalgia wave.
Was there
Roseanne
Twitter when
is
Scott
back.
Pilgrim came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Roseanne is back. X-Files is back. Will and Grace is back. Everything is back.
And are any of them good?
Will and Grace is really good, actually.
It's gonna.
I heard a groan over there.
I didn't watch the original. I can't.
I
do
didn't
these
watch the
episodes.
original either.
Okay, well,
So,
I'm the only one at this table who can speak to it, and I say it's good.
But no, it's gotten good reviews.
Yeah.
And so is the new Roseanne.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch that.
I watched it. I watched it right before we recorded this.
I think she's probably a bad person.
Now, this ties into our topic from last week, which was, do you watch The Art of People You Don't Like? And I do.
If I think I'm going to like the art, I think you can separate an artist from their art, but it's tough. You have to be of two minds on that subject.
You on Facebook over there? What are you doing?
He's checking Facebook.
No.
You're very tuned out.
He's checking his Tinder.
I don't care about Roseanne.
He's swiping right.
But what do you think of the Ready Player One? This is
I don't know. I have to see it. Here's the thing. I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because you know why? It's going to, I feel from what I've been reading about the positive reviews, and so many of those reviewers were like, I went in ready to not like it, and I kind of liked it. I think Spielberg finds a way to thread the needle between putting all the nostalgia things almost in the shallow background, where it's there, you see it, but maybe somehow the story wins out.
He's good
I think
with
2
heart.
weeks from now, we're all going to be like, okay, that wasn't so bad. It could have been so much worse. There's a great article on Vox trying to break down the backlash against Ready Player One and filtering it through the Gamergate brouhaha that erupted between the publication of the book in 2011 and now when the movie came out, and how we can't really appreciate this movie or the book anymore because it's kind of been tainted by what came after it, and that the book itself doesn't necessarily deal like.
What came? Well, I mean, what is
Well, like Gamergate-
I guess I don't understand what Gamergate has
Oh,
to do
it's
with
like-
Ready Player One.
Because
Yeah.
it's the whole idea of like fanboys and nerd culture going into revolt against anyone that doesn't exactly think or love the things that they do in the exact precise way. And
That is
becoming
bad fandom. That is
Well, but
is
it's
bad.
toxic
That
bad
is
fandom, and how the book doesn't necessarily truck in that, but that you can't view it anymore without putting those glasses on. But that the movie somehow kind of skirts around it, and Spielberg's never been not bad-hearted, but he's never been like cruel or bleak. He's always had a sweetness about him. So I think we're all gonna watch a movie and be like, okay, that was fun, and we enjoyed that, and moving on.
I'm just a little worried about CG Nightmare.
Well, I mean, that's my concern, but like I temper that with kind of what you were saying.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody tells the story of the human heart like Spielberg. I don't think anybody treads in those waters like Spielberg. I think he touches.
Ooey bowl.
You love Postal.
I mean, there's gonna be like the Iron Giant and Freddy Krueger in this. What's that about?
The DeLorean.
I mean, hey, you don't like Iron Giant? Iron Giant's
like Iron
Iron
Giant.
Giant's
What
one
about
of the best.
hold on. What if it's Iron Giant, but now he's got guns and he fucks?
I would like.
That's Ready Player 2, I'm pretty sure.
I'd like to point out Iron Giant
Does have guns. I don't think he fucked though.
Well,
Hey, that was like deleted scenes.
Deleted scenes.
Deleted scenes.
In the 14 deleted scenes of the movie.
well, look. I guess my last question to this is, Nick, is nostalgia a problem?
I think nostalgia is only a problem if you're only looking backwards. And I think that the nice thing about this is hopefully it's also addressing something current. It's looking forward.
Is it?
It's a dystopian future.
It's Cleveland.
It's a dystopian present in Cleveland if you check out their sports teams. Other than the
Buffalo.
LeBron, yeah, they're the other side of the lake. But like, I think there's a lot that can be said. The problem with nostalgia is if you only live in the past, if you only believe that the past is worthy and you're not looking forward, because that's when if you're driving a car and you're looking in the rearview mirror only, you're gonna hit shit,
Till you get 88 miles per hour.
and then you're gonna hit 1.21 gigawatts.
Gigawatts.
Is it? Wait, is it a GIF or is it a GIF?
It's a funny cat thing.
It is a funny cat thing.
So, baseball season starts.
Yeah, our teams are still in it. I
Yeah.
love it.
I'll tell you what, my Yankees last year, I did not expect them to do well, and they did really well. I mean, they didn't make it to the World Series, but I was very surprised.
I expected my Mets to do well, and then we lost a couple pitchers, and then they did not do well.
I expected our teams to be the exact opposite last season,
Yeah.
because I thought it was a rebuilding year, but now it's like, I need...
Well, you had good, strong hitting, and from the youth.
The Aaron
Here,
Judges.
here comes the judge.
Yeah. Well, baseball season starting. I'm excited. I'm hopeful. But next year, I'm already looking ahead to the 2019 season.
So you're
because-
like the opposite of nostalgia. You're already in the future.
Well, because I heard some things.
What did
about
you
the next
hear?
season. Major League Baseball is proposing that next season they are going to bring baseball to jolly old England, that they want to play games in London. Great. They want to do this. So who do they want to do? They want to do my beloved New York Yankees and the shit pile Boston Red Sox, the most storied rival in all of sport. Now, here's the thing. This rivalry is going to be wasted on the Brits. Sure, if they know one thing about baseball, it's probably they know the Yankees. But guess what? They don't know anything about the game. The history, the tradition, the nostalgia we all have for it. They're not going to be excited about this, so who the fuck is this for? I get when they send teams to Japan, because guess what? In Japan, they fucking love baseball over there. But as far as the Brits are concerned, this is just bizarro cricket. My beloved team has to get on a plane, fly across an ocean. They're going to be jet lagged, eating shitty food, minding the gap, having to look the wrong way for oncoming traffic. Aaron Judge is going to get hit by a car. Then what we're going to be? What's this for? Where's the team going to be with then? For a bunch of colonizing wankers who don't care? That's who they're going to come play for? Give me a break. I met a British guy at a Yankee game once, and I had to teach him about baseball. It was very nice, but guess what? It's like he's all excited going to see baseball now, because he walked away being like, what the fuck did this guy tell me about this whole time? And that's why you, Major League Baseball and London, are this week's enemy of the podcast. Go fuck yourselves. This is why God invented the A's or the Marlins. Send their asses over there. You don't see the NFL send the Patriots and the Green Bay Packers. No, they send the Dolphins and the 0-16 Browns. I mean, legitimately, I do think this is a little, like, you know...
It's like they're shooting the big guns with the Yankees and the Red Sox.
But it's also like, do they really think it's going to catch on there? It's not going to catch on there.
I mean, maybe they are trying to learn from that NFL example by not sending the shitty teams over.
That's to be fair.
But what if they get over there and they put on a shitty game and it's like, you know, it's a walk-off home run at the end of the 12th? You know,
why is
like,
that's a good game. I want to see that game.
How about this? A 0-1 game with a walk-off home run at the top of the 10th.
That's a really great game. Yeah. If you love the sport, that's a great game.
But they probably don't love the sport. They want to see like 8-2.
When I was over in London,
because in cricket they're just banging balls out there, hitting sixes or hitting fours. You know, it's a high-scoring game.
I was over in London, and I left the day that the NFL played.
Yeah.
And so in the couple of days beforehand, I saw like in Piccadilly Circus there was like NFL stuff all over, and but there was like a lot of Americans, and I was like, I hope they don't think I'm some Raiders fan or something that I just came here to see the game.
I have a proposal for Major League Baseball. You heard it here first. Every other seat is a fan of that team so that they can explain the game to the person sitting next to them.
How are you gonna screen for that? Websites? What you can do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I mean, we'll use the Facebook data.
Send me back.
Yeah.
You'll go?
You can teach them all.
You'll fly with your Yankees chair. I brought my own seat.
You know what's funny? I really did, though. I was at a Yankee game once out in the bleachers. It kind of just randomly went. It was like a day game, a weekday. And there was this guy hanging around who just bought a ticket, and he was hanging around, and me and my friends were like, oh, this guy seems weird. And then he came up to us and he asked us a question. He had a British accent, and somebody said, oh, you're from England? And he goes, yeah. He's like, I'm here for I'm a police officer in England, and I'm here for a 9/11 memorial.
Wow.
And all these like all his other friends who were in town, they were like doing other things. He's like, but while I was in town, I wanted to see an American sporting event. And he's like, but I don't really know about baseball. And we're like, well, sit with us. We'll tell you. We'll teach you the game. But I remember in this, he had heard of the Yankees. And then I brought up that the Yankees and Red Sox were like maybe the biggest rivalry. And he goes, so at a Yankee-Red Sox game, how many people are getting stabbed? And I go, none! I said, maybe someone gets a beer poured on their head, maybe.
Maybe.
It's more civil than you think. In New York, it's more civil than you think.
Oh, yeah, Fenway shit goes down, yeah.
Fenway are doing. But...
having married into Fenway fans,
I know.
I think it's probably shitty in both places, but there's a mutual distaste but respect. There's hatred, but I feel like there's
no one's getting stabbed.
Yeah, nobody's stabbing anybody.
Nobody's getting stabbed. And it occurred to me, though, he's thinking it's all like a bunch of soccer hooligans. Major League Baseball is also trying out a rule this season in the minor leagues that, Major League Baseball is always trying to reinvent stuff, and that always worries me because I feel like they're trying to bring in new fans and not caring about the fans they have, or, And in the minor leagues, they're starting a new thing in extra innings. I don't know if you know about this. where when extra innings start, they're going to automatically put a runner at second base.
I love that.
But would you love that for Major League Baseball?
Absolutely.
That would take away some of these great extra inning games.
I think it makes it interesting. I don't think you do that in the playoffs. I don't like.
No, you don't do it in the postseason.
Yeah, I don't think you do it in the postseason. But I think for a regular season game, make it interesting. Make it
They
interesting.
got enough you get enough regular season games.
Well, the reason they say they're doing it in the minor leagues is it'll also help the pitch count for these young pitchers.
Which makes sense. That's a
that
good
makes
idea.
gracious to the young pitcher.
Yeah, well, no, they gotta protect their arms.
Yeah. I mean, and did you? There was a team in spring training that put 4 people in the outfield. You saw that, right?
What?
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I want to say it was Baltimore, but I'm not entirely sure. And, obviously it's a spring training game, and it was situational, but they had 4 people in the outfield, which I think
Orioles.
I think is interesting.
Yeah, but then, I mean, you can't have 4 people in the
Can
outfield.
you? I don't know. Corey Ken Burns.
No, that's ridiculous.
The history of the game.
And that was the last time that 4 people ever played in the outfield again.
All right,
I believe it was the Springfield.
Willie Will Link was a star pitcher in the Negro League. He went up and down Kansas City from Missouri, and they barnstormed their way through the Midwest, playing games from coast to coast.
I would watch that.
With Ken Burns baseball is amazing.
No, I would watch him playing baseball.
If you've never sat and given up 15 hours of your life to Ken Burns baseball, go do that.
Oh, it's worth it.
It's
well
amazing.
worth it.
Yeah. And it's also like hypnotic, and you just sit there and be like, again, another one. Like, I need to find about Babe Ruth's like whoring. Like, tell me about him growing up at his dad's like feet in a bar in Baltimore. On that note,
We always like to end on a weird note, or sometimes a sad note, and this is a sad, weird note.
this is terrifying.
Also, in England, a man has died after getting his head stuck under a cinema seat. We all got these fucking reclining bullshit seats now. Well, the victim, he became trapped after bending down to retrieve his phone at the end of a movie at Birmingham Star City Complex View Cinema. His head became wedged under the electronic footrest. I guess this caused panic, and he went to cardiac arrest. And he's dead because of those goddamn reclining seats at the movies.
So comfortable.
Let me tell you, I got a big problem with those seats.
What?
Oh, yeah. I don't care for this.
He died a week after the incident, by the way.
Let's leave that part out.
Stretching the truth.
But they say it was because of this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because his family wants money. Apparently, they have learned something from America.
Here's my issue with those reclining seats. One, I want to be comfortable in the movies. I don't want to be that comfortable.
You gotta be vertical.
Yeah, because then if the movie's like middling, I might fall asleep.
You don't want pillows and a blanket and a little drink.
Also, I think I'd have less of a problem with it if I was a little taller. See, you're a taller man than me. If you want to just put your feet down, you can put your feet down. Guess what? I can't. They dangle in those seats. So, like, it's a little annoying. I read a great article today on RogerEbert.com
Okay.
about how all these reserved seating are hurting handicapped people, because now everybody buys the reserved seating and people buy the handicap seats.
Fuckers.
Well, there's a warning. Because I
will never click through a warning online.
I guess I'm an honorable man. I'm like
And
Brutus.
This woman says she goes to the movies and there's already not a lot of space for the handicap. And she goes, and then there are always people in the handicap seat. She always has to get into a discussion. And the theater always has to come and ask the people if they would move their seat. And the people never want to, because at that point, there are only seats
Free
in the
tickets.
front row. Well, she said before reserved seating, her life was so much, going to the movies was so much better. And I actually feel the same way.
You're disabled?
I do not.
Because he's old.
I do not like reserved seating.
Did you ever see the IT crowd?
Oh, yeah.
I'm disabled.
I get told I'm Chris O'Dowd all the time.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
Radio listeners.
Yes.
I look exactly like Chris
There's a
O'Dowd. but
scruffy
with
Chris O'Dowd.
Scruffy Chris O'Dowd.
Here's the thing.
Movie theaters are going to kill us. If they're going to kill us, they're going to kill the handicap.
They are going to kill the handicap.
But But what if that's in their charter? And on that note,
Nick, thank you so much for coming back.
sorry it took so long.
I'm gray now, but thank you.
Tell the people one more time where they can find you and everything you're up to.
On the tweets, I'm at Nicholas Brandt. Silent D in there, so watch out for that. You can check out songs from Comic-Con the Musical at comicconthemusical.com. Though it might be good to get there now because some of those songs may not exist in the future.
Copyright issues.
No, not copyright issues. They might be written out of the new version.
Okay.
So, but a nerd is a fine thing to be. Will always be in there. That's me.
All right, Sean.
You can find me on most forms of social media at the Sean David. So do so.
And you can follow me on Twitter at The Real Will Link. We don't have a show next week.
Yeah, we're off because of the affliction holiday and Jews.
Yeah.
Goddamn Jews.
So we're taking off next week, but we're booking some great people.
Follow us. Keep an eye on Facebook and Twitter. We will let you know who our upcoming guests are. We got some irons in the fire, as they say 2,500 years ago.
Magicians and porn stars. You heard it here first.
We need to book more.
Porn magicians.
Yeah.
Magician.
I wouldn't mind having a. Let's just get. This
I got a magician hookup.
Oh,
I know a magician. I'll hook you up.
Yeah,
Let's get another magician on because we had a magician on. He was fucking great.
I actually, no joke, I got some serious magician hookups. So.
I do too. So I'll let you guys know. Yeah.
Abracadabra coming soon.
Abracadabra.
And now with feeling.
Abracadabra. And on that note, thank you so much, Nick. Thank you so much for coming back on the show and for the Will Sean podcast. I'm Sean David.
I'm Will Link.
We're finished.
We're finished.